Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube. Hello, art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss M, and I am back with yet another video, and I think it's good. I think this is it. I think this is the big one, or yeah, I think yeah. Yeah. This is gonna be the big one. And I kind of like debated as to whether or not I should even make this video tonight because I've been feeling like Miss M está feeling lousy. Okay, like some shit's been going on lately in my life. Again, nothing tragic, nothing catastrophic, but just a bummer. A bummer. I have an issue with my foot. And I mean, nothing horrible, nothing like life-threatening, and I had to go to the hospital and get it x-rayed and get blood work done and all kinds of shit. And I still have to make an appointment with the podiatrist and... if I end up having to have surgery on this foot to correct like a functional problem. If it comes to that, then I'll be off my feet for like 6 weeks, and ooh, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off like you wouldn't believe. Oh, and my thyroid levels are like just haywire. At like my TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, sky high, and that's possibly causing some issues with my cholesterol levels and my blood sugar levels, and I'm just pissed beyond words. And I'm hoping that, like, I've got a telephone appointment with my doctor, and I hope that, I get good news this coming Monday. So I'm angry and depressed and whatever. And I said, what better way for me to help myself feel better than to make a video, And the thing is, like, I've been preparing this for quite a while. We've got 212 slides today. You heard me. Yeah, I said 212. It's working. I'm already laughing, so that's a good thing. This some bullshit. Okay, this some bullshit. But I think I'm gonna be okay. I talked with like friends and family, and they reassured me, and they said everything's gonna be okay. They said everything's gonna be okay, Miss M. Just you'll be fine. You'll get through this, and everything's gonna be okay. And nice encouraging words which I didn't expect, because I come from like my family. Well, these people are strict. Difficult people, but they're wonderful and I love them, and that's okay. But whatever, whatever. It's the big one, you guys. It is the big one today. So before I get started with anything, okay, I've already told you like about my bullshit that I'm going through. But before I get started with anything, let me do my church announcements. So, this was a Catholic church, like. I would be announcing the pancake breakfast on Sunday after Mass. Excuse me. I was raised Catholic, so I can make fun of it as much as I want. But anyway, a pancake breakfast, y'all. Get ready. Get ready. Returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate each and every single last one of you. I've got 445 of you here who were dumb enough to subscribe to this channel. And I appreciate each and every one of you, like you would, especially a time like now when I need cheering up. My God. But also, any of you, all of you who are listening, watching, what have you, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. To help me out with the algorithm, I'm going to start calling that thing the alleged algorithm, because we all grown-ups here. We all know how life really works. We should at this point. Anyway. But yeah, that's my church announcements, and okay, so you've been announced. Yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy this video. I hope all of you are doing awesome and having a great week, a great day, a great May. It's May, y'all. It's May. The Overlook is officially open for business. Oh, sweet mother of pearl. Could you imagine? Like, we should take a field trip to the one that it's modeled after. The, what is it called? The Awenee, or is it the Timberline, or like both? Did he combine like the outside of the Timberline plus the inside of the Awenee Hotel, which is interesting. But y'all, I don't know if you've been keeping track of my community page, but I found this gorgeous article about Stanley Kubrick's early photography. And just his, I was like wondering if he ever did fashion photography. And I haven't found that yet, but I found these ladies back in, I guess, the 1940s. They look like they're having a perfectly marvelous time, just, walking around, laughing, talking. Maybe they're going to go out and have some lunch somewhere, some wonderful New York lunch. I love nostalgia, and I know there's a word for it, because like there's a word for everything, but like a nostalgia for a time that you never lived in. I know there's a word for that. I'm not about to look it up, but there's just something about Stanley's photography, and like I said here, this is the big one. I think I hit the mother lode. Stanley Kubrick's Napoleon, the greatest movie never made, and it's on archive.org. People, I'm just over the moon happy about finding this, because where is it? Yes, here it is. Metro Goldwyn Mayer, Napoleon. The fact that he wanted to make a movie about Napoleon Bonaparte just boggles my mind. And I saw your messages in my email from the Slack boards, Gershom and Dr. Luke, and you were talking about, oh gosh, I wish I could remember. My brain is on the fritz, y'all. But you were talking about, like, that I mentioned in one of my videos, triclavianism. Yeah, I did. And that has to do with, I wouldn't even say it. If you know, you know. But you guys, that's why I'm so interested in this Napoleon project that never materialized with Kubrick, because to me, and I didn't tell you the connection. Dr. Luke and Gershom know what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't know, maybe one day I'll make a video about it and let you all know. It's difficult to explain, and I already have bigger fish to fry in this video. Like I said, 212 slides, and I hope I do it right. But the fact that our Stanley Kubrick wanted to make a movie about Napoleon Bonaparte's life is mind-blowing to me. That means that, to me, that tells me that Stanley did his research, because he wanted to do this movie, and that tells me that, especially somebody like him, he probably did reams and reams and reams of research, and for whatever reason it didn't happen, but he wanted it to happen. I think his wife even said that in the interview that I read to you guys in one of my videos. And the fact that he wanted to do this, again, tells me that Stanley is not just a good guy, but a super duper good guy. Okay, he was trying to maybe save the world with his movies. That's why I believe that what we're doing, not just me, but us, trying to figure out his movies and figure out how he uses symbolism and figure out how he communicated visually. That's why I believe it's so important. That's why I'm so obsessive about this, because I think that he was not just a genius, but a genius who was trying to save humanity through the use of cinema. I know that sounds crazy, but here we are. Let me get on to it, right? What is the big one? What is what I believe is the key to unlocking the mystery of this movie that I've been working on for so long in my little, I guess I can just call them video essays. I think I found it. I already told Tancred about it. It's not going to be a surprise to Tancred, but the rest of you, not that I, of course I want you to know, that's why I'm making the video, but I ran it by Tancred, and, his reaction seemed like, more or less positive, so I said, okay, let me do this. Whether or not you agree with me, that's none of my business, okay? Whether or not you think I've lost my mind, that's also none of my business. Um... I'm going to go ahead with this and do it. As you can see, I've started with what I believe is possibly the first shot in the movie where we find a clue. Okay, this is the blood elevator with just the first little bits of blood coming out of it. I believe the first view in the movie of the thing that I think unlocks the secrets of the movie, or is a crucial component for unlocking. Maybe it's a component to assemble the puzzle that will then be the key after it's solved to unlocking the movie. I don't know. But as you can see here, what is prominently featured? Well, this elevator. We all know the elevator. You can't miss it, especially when all the blood comes out of it and it drenches the floor, and the current is strong enough to move these chairs. Okay. And then we have the radiators. Okay. The radiators play a big part in this, but I'm not concentrating on the radiators in this big reveal, possibly secret information revealed video. It's what might be underneath the radiators in front of them. I'm not sure, and I cannot say 100% for sure, but these things on the floor, the radiator here, and then this might be just a border to the tiling on the floor, and I can't make it out. That's why I'm asking for you guys. Maybe you have better eyes than I do. Maybe if you have a better copy of the movie and it's a sharper picture, you can check it out and look for me. These things on the floor to me look like possible. Not 100% sure. I'm actually leaning towards me being wrong on this one particular slide, but these things look like either I can't talk tonight. Heating or air conditioning vents. Okay. So this movie is going to be all about HVAC. Okay? Let me look that up for you and show you what I mean. All right, I'm back. HVAC. 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 Which stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. That is, I believe, one of the key components, or maybe one of the pieces of the puzzle that when assembled it'll then lead to the key to solving The Shining. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And what is that? Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning is the use of various technologies to control the temperature, humidity, and purity of the air in an enclosed space. Okay? Its goal is to provide thermal comfort and acceptable indoor air quality. Okay, now I'm not even going to link to that. You all can look up HVAC on your own. You'll find the same thing that I found here. And then we got a technician in this picture, and then we got diagrams of HVAC systems. And when I told you I studied this, I meant it. All right. So HVAC, are these on the floor? Are they air conditioning or heating vents? I'm not sure. Right next to them here, there might just be tiles, but right next to them on either side of this hallway that we're looking at are radiators. Okay. And what is like the difference? Let me go on to the next slide. We got 212 of them to cover. Some of them maybe are unnecessary, but I put them in anyway. And I did this. I wanted to maybe take a little more time and think this through a little bit. And I said, you know what? Forget that. Let me just do this my way and talk it through and explain verbally what I mean to convey to you. But heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, I believe, is the key to solving The Shining. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy. I'm fully aware of that. Fully. Is it going to stop me? Has it ever? Yeah, no, it hasn't ever. And I'm not going to start now. I'm not going to start worrying about whether or not I'm crazy now, after all of that. At this point, yeah, no. But the I researched different methods of heating and cooling indoor spaces, and we've seen a couple of them in this movie. We've seen these radiators. They're all over, aren't they? They are all over the hotel, not just these hallways, not just in the lobby, not just in places, public places of the hotel, but also in the rooms. They're also in the Torrance's apartment in the hotel. They're in room 237. Okay. And with a building this big in a location with what was it that Ullman called it? With brutal winters? Or what? Oh, I need no time to look it up. But he said that the winters were just miserable in that part of Colorado. Yeah, you're gonna need some good not air conditioning, no, heating. You're gonna need a good heating system, and so we see a lot of radiators, which we can thank David Lynch for. Radiators are still a thing to this day. In California, like I said, I've said it in prior videos, they're kind of like antiques at this point. Like, I don't know when's the last time I've seen a radiator. In very old public buildings that need to be renovated, need to be fixed, like schools and places like that, yeah, maybe. But not homes. I haven't seen them in public buildings ever. Especially newer buildings. Yeah, everything is forced air heating now. Okay? That's the way to go down here. And a lot of houses in Southern California, and I mean like Los Angeles area, simply don't have air conditioning. Even though we have those miserable Indian summers, a lot of us just say, you know what, forget the air conditioning. Indian summer lasts, what, a month? Maybe like the really hottest hot part. I'll just get one of those, I'll get a fan, or I'll open the windows and create a draft. Like, it's not perfect, but it's much better than spending all that money on an actual air conditioning system. Why am I talking about this? The air in the room is important. You can't see it. You can't see the air in a room. Yeah, hopefully you can't see it. Hopefully it's nice and clear. But the way that air is heated, whether it's radiators or forced air or a fireplace, that's important. That's important. And Stanley didn't tell us. The radiators come from David Lynch, and like I have my theory about that, but he didn't tell us at all about the possibility. Well, no, not the possibility. It's there. Let me show you. Hold on, before I get ahead of myself. So, most of this is going to be centered around the Colorado Lounge. Okay? That's one of the spaces in the hotel that doesn't have any radiators. Did you hear me? They're in the lobby. They're in the They're in again the Torrance's apartment, room 237. Oh, can't think very well right now. In the hallways, in lots of hallways, especially in downstairs. In the staff wing of the hotel, there's no heating. There's nothing, no radiators, no forced air, no nothing. But the public parts of the hotel, full, absolutely crawling with radiators, and places like room 237 and the Torrance's apartment. Places like the Gold Room, the Colorado Lounge, Ullman's office, where else? That big crazy, the gentleman's room. No heating system that is noticeable in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. No radiator, no vents. Yeah, you heard me, vents. For the forced air. Or air conditioning, but there's no vents in that bathroom. Or, like I said, the Gold Room. I'm sorry, the Gold Room, no radiators in the Gold Room. No radiators in the Colorado Lounge. Okay, you're probably curious at this point. And I'm starting our journey. Like I said, these might be vents on the floor, or they might be just a darker color of tile, but I couldn't ignore the possibility. That's why I put the slide in. That's slide number 1. Most of the slides in this presentation, 212 slides, are going to be of spaces where there are vents rather than radiators at the Overlook Hotel. Now, they're entering this sort of foyer area before that's here before you enter the Colorado Lounge. Okay, so here they are getting off the elevator and what have you. We're still on the camera walk. They're being given a tour, and this is what everybody misses. This is what they miss it because Stanley made sure that people would not pay attention to it. Okay. When I'm done with this video presentation, however long it takes me, an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe a little more than 2 hours, I don't give a shit. It deserves all the time it takes me. However much time I need, that's how much time I'm going to take to explain this and show you what I consider evidence. Anyway, they're walking into the Colorado Lounge, and I told you Stanley was a sneaky genius. And I believed that ever since I watched The Shining for the first time. But I didn't know he was this sneaky. And once again, I love him for it. He's rewarding those of us who are observant enough to notice this shit. Anyway, here they are on the camera walk, the tour on closing day of the hotel, and they're walking into the Colorado Lounge. Now, you see over here a chair and a table. That's what Jack converts into his office. He just turns the whole Colorado Lounge into his personal space that Wendy is not allowed to come in because whether she hears him typing or she doesn't hear him typing or whatever the fuck she hears him doing, stay out. Can you handle that, Wendy? Stay out. Okay. This room is extremely important because all the kind of big stuff, a lot of the big confrontations happen in this room. So they're walking into the Colorado Lounge, and there's this very thick wall that separates the foyer area and the main space of the Colorado Lounge. And you see these windows with the stained glass up top and the plaid curtains and these damn sconces. Okay, cool. Moving forward, here we are. Look at these walls. You see where my cursor is? These walls. These two very large, thick, I don't even know if they qualify as walls. Are they pillars? They're so big that they could, I don't know why they're so big. They seem to be almost a perfect square, all the different sides of the walls put together. And they're what's in there? Is there a door of any kind to get inside of these spaces? No. They just seem to just exist. Big, thick walls that could be rooms. If you put a door and if it's hollow in there, they could at least serve for storage or something. Nothing. But I think that's if that's a wall, it's huge. If that's a column or something, it's still huge. But whatever. So again, here we are. Look at these walls. So this is Jack's writing desk and his writing chair. And this is the wall that's behind him in the Wendy and Jack scene in the Colorado Lounge at night. And there's, on each one of these, there's 2 of them. Okay. There's a chair. I think the seat of the chairs is wicker. But the chair itself is made of wood. And then there's a little side table next to the chair, and the height of the side table, as you can see, is more or less exactly the same height as the seat of the wicker part of the chair. Okay, and Stanley, I don't know who measured this, but they did an awesome job. Stanley chose these chairs and these tables precisely for the purpose of covering up what isn't here now. And what isn't here on these walls now, I know it's hard to see it, and you might have to watch the movie and do several red balls through this portion of the movie. There are no heating or air conditioning vents behind this chair and table set up on each side of this entryway for the Colorado Lounge. And as you can see, look at it, this little table, which never made sense to me. Why such a short table? It should be, about as tall as the arm on the chair. Isn't that how end tables usually work? Not these. The seat of the chair and the top, the flat top of the table and this whole thing are just exactly the same size as the air vents that are not here now. Not here and not here. But they will be there later. And I'll show you. You don't have to believe me. I'll show you. They're not here. Okay? This is the camera walk, remember? And I postulated in prior videos that this camera walk, the tour on the closing day of the hotel, is for the purpose of letting the viewer know how shit should look in the hotel. The baseline for reality in the world of the movie. That's the purpose of the camera walk. That's why we're getting this tour at the beginning of the movie. Okay? So they're walking in, right? And as you can see, I know it's hard to see because Stanley purposely made it that way. I went through this so many times. Red balled through this portion when they walk through this entryway, past these so many times. There's no vents. No vent behind the chair, no vent behind the table on either one of these. Okay? And they keep walking. Here's Jack's table. Okay. And as I said, this couch that's in front of the table, couch, coffee table, end tables, and lamp combo. 2 lamps, 2 end tables, couch and coffee table with a rug underneath it. That just simply disappears. Okay. In the tennis ball scene in this movie, it partially disappears. They take the couch and they turn it around so the couch is facing this table. But after that, no more couch, no more coffee table, no more end tables, no more rug, no nothing. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not going to say I know why when I don't know why. But there are no vents back here. There should be. Well, no, actually there shouldn't be. Like I said, this part of the movie is establishing reality in the world of the movie. Okay? The baseline, the default state of the hotel before it closes and the Torrance family is left there alone. Okay, so we're going to keep it moving. As you can see, no vents. I know it's hard to see. And also, let me back up. That's why I took so many screenshots. I might as well use them. So, it's not like Stanley is just saying, okay, you need to be so crazy and so obsessive and so whatever, have whatever mental situation that you got to have in order to notice this shit. He said, you know what, let me make it so that people will, once they discover this, I'm thinking this is what Stanley was thinking. He wanted to give people who discovered this like confirmation so they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that what they're noticing is not just there, but it is significant. Okay, so it's not just these on either one of these. I'll just call them big fat columns. It's not just that there are no vents here now. It's that they are always, if you see vents in this part where the table and chair are on each side, they will always be accompanied by vents in this wall over here where this woman is, right? And then there's the wall behind her. Okay, this is, there's 3 entryways into the Colorado Lounge. The central one, then the one on the right, and then the one on the left when you're approaching from the, from where they're approaching from. There's also going to be vents on this wall, on this right-hand side, where this woman is. It would be visible. Okay, so Stanley's letting you know, no, you're not crazy. If you notice this, you are not insane. It is part of the plan. So they're walking in, no vents here, no vents here. No vents on this wall over here. And again, this one, and then its corresponding one on the other side, on its clear opposite over here. Okay? As you can see, nothing over here, nothing over here, nothing over here. I just talked about the writing table and the couch, coffee table, end table, lamps, and whatever combo that will completely disappear once Jack is done playing with his tennis ball in this room. And this is where we have the workers, some random lady passing by. As you can see, nothing on this wall over here. There will be later. If you don't believe me, stick around. So there's these workers polishing furniture, just getting the place ready for closing for the winter. Also, this part behind the piano, at the base of these stairs, this will later have vents too. So basically, when there are vents in this room, they are on each of these walls, this one on the very far right and then on the very far left, which you can't see because of the angle of this shot. They will also be behind the chair and table on each one of these pillars, right? And they will also be, where is it? Behind the piano, right? Piano here. I don't know how many there are here, like 4 behind the piano. And they're not here. So if you don't believe me about the ones behind the table and chair, well, there are none here either behind the piano, and there will be later. So when there are vents in this room, that means something. In my opinion, it means something. So let's keep it moving, right? And that's why, see, on this side of the room, he uses this table and chair combo to obscure this area where the vents will be later. So you don't pick up on it right away. You're not supposed to notice it right away because that's just how much of a genius Stanley is. And you don't notice this one, this behind the piano right away because of the piano and because of these ridiculous little fake potted plants. Okay, there's more vents, and that's why we have not Tony. Oh, what's wrong with me tonight? Danny running through here on his tricycle. So they finally exited the Colorado Lounge, and then they're in this area underneath the stairs, right? Let me see something real quick. Yeah, it looks like, I don't think the chandeliers are lit, but yeah, it doesn't look like they are. But in this area they are. Okay, so they're here, and after the Colorado Lounge, we'll come back. Don't worry, we'll be back in the Colorado Lounge before long. Then they move on to the Gold Room. I'm not going to go over the Gold Room yet, but trust and believe there's no radiators in here. No radiators in here. And no vents that we can see from this angle. But we'll get back to that later. That's why I put a picture. Okay? That's why I put the pictures of the Gold Room, at least in the beginning of the movie. Because we're going to come back to it. Then Wendy gets her tour of the kitchen, and I went through the kitchen visually. In the tour of the kitchen, didn't see any vents. Did see this radiator, which is very odd for a kitchen to have a radiator, in my opinion. I could be wrong. And it's even odder that there's stuff stacked up against the radiator, because the radiator's job is to radiate heat. So this is just not a good idea. If you mean to turn this on, yeah, just really not a good idea to turn on the radiator with all of this paper, cardboard up next to it. That looks like a hazard of some kind to me. But yeah, we'll come back to certain spaces. Okay, after the tour of the hotel, right? I told you the baseline, the default reality of the hotel, no vents in the Colorado Lounge. No radiators either, which doesn't make sense, does it? Because I assume that if it gets cold, then this room is going to get cold too. All right? If they have, like, it doesn't even have to be winter. Like y'all said, you could have like a freak snowstorm in May, or when? Like September, when the hotel is still open. Or you could have cold weather in this kind of place in May or September. Cold enough to turn on a heater. And this big ass room, this big ass public room in the hotel, the Colorado Lounge, at least the version that we're being shown here, there are no heating anything in this room. Not on the walls anyway. No radiators, no vents, nothing. And again, you'll see why I'm harping on this in a little while. They have one radiator that I found in the kitchen, and then after like the tour of the hotel, a month later, right? The loon making its call, right? There's a fireplace going over here, like whatever that's about. I don't know. And then, is this one? No, the smoke is coming from here. Bear in mind that the Torrance's apartment is somewhere around here, so like, what's going on? Anyway, so here we have Wendy. Check it, and I put this just to show you the radiators in this hallway that's on the that's on like the periphery of the lobby. She's wheeling Jack his breakfast. Okay, radiator. I know that this is a large space, but they seem to have gone a little radiator crazy in this hotel, in these hallways and the lobby and the places that do have them. Like, do we need like that many radiators up and down the hallway? I don't know. Especially when they completely neglect to heat rooms like the Colorado Lounge and or seemingly, the Gold Room. Don't make sense. It probably gets cold in there too. But okay, so moving on. And then we have our second version of the camera walk. All right, we have little Danny rolling around in his tricycle, right? And he goes through this service hallway that is adjacent to the Colorado Lounge. So he's rolling down this hallway, which the floor again is red, same color as the floor in the barracks in Full Metal Jacket. And this wall to the left that you see here, that is the other side of the fireplace in the Colorado Lounge. And consequently, upstairs from this room, like the ceiling of this service hallway is parallel to the hallway upstairs that is outside of room 237. Okay, so right above Danny's head, quite possibly, is the hallway in front of room 237. So he's riding through this area, and you can see all these pipes. You see all these pipes on the ceiling. That's how probably, I assume, I'm not a plumber, I'm not an HVAC technician, but I presume or assume or whatever that this is how the water is delivered to the radiators throughout the hotel. That's how, I mean, if you didn't know, maybe some of you know way better than me. If you do, feel free to correct me if I get something wrong and drop it in the comments. But that's how radiators work. They're basically hollow pipes that are coiled up in that radiator shape. And those pipes are filled with hot water. And the water has to travel to the radiator through other pipes. Again, I assume like these on the ceiling here. Okay, so that's how a radiator system works. That's possibly why they're obsolete, because they're complicated. You know, or obsolete in a place like Southern California or Los Angeles, California. There are more efficient and less complicated ways to set up heating and whatever in a house than all these damn pipes going through the walls and oh, by the way, a radiator requires hot water. Hot water comes from, yep, you guessed it, a boiler. Anyway, so he's riding through this hallway, and then he comes in through the hallway, and then he makes his left turn. And I did a screenshot of this because it's, again, blink and you'll miss it. Stanley did this. Stanley did a number on us. There's a little vent here on the inside of this wall. See this chair here? There's a little vent in there. Okay? That, again, blink and you'll miss it. I believe it's very deliberate. And now he enters this area, he turns left, and he proceeds forward through this, again, back area behind the Colorado Lounge. You see this? Please tell me that you see it. Well, Yeah, you can't tell me a damn thing. But look at this. Okay, this is what I said. What slide is this? So I don't have to this is slide 29. So when I showed you this over here, and I said, he's riding past this wall. Okay, this is where we just saw Danny on his tricycle. This is the wall here, right? There is no vent in that wall in this scene. You can watch it yourself. You can red ball through the movie yourself. Where's the vents? They're not there. But when Danny is riding through, oh looky, there they are. Okay, and there's not one but two of them. Okay, there they are. Did you ever notice that? I told you in a couple of videos prior, I've been working on this for a little while. I've been turning this over and over and over and over in my head for a little while. And I told you that Stanley has a reason for this. This is not a throwaway scene. This is not this one of Danny circling this service hallway and Colorado Lounge thing like in a loop on his tricycle. This is not a throwaway. It seems like a throwaway. It seems completely useless to show us just him and his tricycle. Is it foreshadowing for when he finally sees the twins upstairs, the bloody little girls after they get chopped up? Is it foreshadowing for that? No. I've been telling you in my videos, Stanley wanted us to see this room, this space, from the perspective of a very short person. And not just a very short person because he's 4 or 5 years old, but like a short person sitting down. He wanted us to be eye level with these vents. And the only way he could do that was to sit down a 4-year-old in a tricycle and roll him around this area. So you could get a good look. Here he is. He's entered the Colorado Lounge. So from this angle, Jack's desk is over to the left. And he's riding through. Yeah. And as you can see, the rug where the sofa is still there, and he's riding through, okay, the Colorado Lounge. Notice the vents in the base of the stairs that I just showed you a second ago. What number slide is this? 33. That I just showed you a second ago are simply not there in this shot. You see that? They're not there. Behind the piano. At the base of these stairs. They're just not there. But when Danny rides past in his tricycle, they are there. Okay? Hopefully I've got your attention at this point. And there's another vent over here, as you can see, in this wall underneath this sconce. Yeah, he's getting closer to it. Is it one or two? Looks like two. And I think there's one behind this lamp over here on this wall as well. Yeah, see that? And then he comes in here, rides past this fireplace. Okay, then he goes, and he's going to do the loop again. Okay, so here he is again. This service area. These are doors, by the way. That's not an elevator. These are doors for easy access into the Colorado Lounge. I guess for the waiters or whatever, carrying coffee, drinks, whatever, to the people sitting in there. Again, these pipes are probably for the radiator. Forced air doesn't use pipes. It uses ducts. Okay, those things that look like silver. Okay, so this is why Stanley felt that it was imperative to show us Danny's little ride on his tricycle through the service hallway and Colorado Lounge area. So we can see it from the perspective of a very short person who's not just short, but they're also sitting down. Okay, the base of the wall. And then we go upstairs. He has his little breakfast. I haven't found any vents in the Torrance's apartment. Okay, I went through every room in this movie from beginning to end. And that edited out scene of the, Wendy and Danny at the hospital and Stuart Ullman comes to visit them. And he brings roses for Wendy and the tennis ball for Danny. And he says to Wendy, "We went over the hotel with a fine-tooth comb." Now, that didn't make it into the final cut of the movie, but that little bit of dialogue in there, I believe that is Stanley. If it had been included in the movie, maybe that's why it needed to be edited out, because it gives us too strong of a hint. It tells you basically Ullman's dialogue, or Ullman's, like, words that we hear him say, are basically telling you what you need to do to figure this movie out. You need to go through the hotel with a fine-tooth comb, which is what I did. And I found these vents. Okay. Well, I found them and I didn't find them. They're not there during the tour on closing day, but in every other scene, they're there in one version or another. And you'll understand what I mean when we get to that. So anyway, the next time after this scene, okay, first we have Danny looping around, and then, so yeah, let me count it. So the first time we see the Colorado Lounge is on closing day. Okay, that's number one. The second time we see the Colorado Lounge is when Danny is riding through it. I guess, what does it say? A month later. Don't tell me they put those vents in a month later. I don't think so. Anyway, and yeah, again, the very important ones, he shows you the ones at the base of the stairs, and I think he intends for, again, very, very mentally crazy viewers like me to, like, really, really compare and contrast and do, like, red ball through the movie and just be observant. Okay? So anyway, so this is, what is this? This is the second one, yeah? And then the third one, after Jack's breakfast, is Jack whiling out in the Colorado Lounge. And this is, yeah, see, I told you. So in this scene, they just turn the couch around. The whole thing, the couch, coffee table, end table, rug thing, they just turn it around facing the desk. It's you and I both know, those of you who are into this movie and you're watching my videos, you know that this couch and this whole setup is going to disappear. The lamps are gone. Each of these end tables had a lamp. One of those lamps is used in the nighttime scene where Jack talks horribly to Wendy, and then we never see it again. They were here. When they were in their original position, each lamp was on here. Again, where did they plug it in? I don't see any sockets. But whatever. So here he is. And what I was going to say when I was doing these slides, like as a little aside, this Adler typewriter, later in the movie, it's after this scene, we never see it this color again. This is like this beige, off-white color. And then later it turns like black or charcoal gray. After this, it's always going to be black or charcoal gray. So there's always like this speculation as to, like, why? Why does it change color after this scene? I think that, and I think somebody told me, whether, I don't know if it was Tankard or somebody else, that said, allegedly Jack smokes, but we never see him smoking. We see the evidence of his smoking habit. We see the pack of cigarettes. We see the ashtray. And we see stuff like this cigarette, like, lit and burning away in the ashtray. But in this scene in the Colorado Lounge, and I do believe the Colorado Lounge is integral to solving the mystery of this movie, we see this cigarette pack. We see the ashtray. We see the cigarette lit and burning away, perched on one of the things on the ashtray. But then we see Jack throwing this ball up against the wall. Listen, if you're a smoker, you don't do shit like this. Okay? If you're on a cigarette, you're smoking a cigarette, you smoke it. And if something happens, you got to leave it, or you want to do something else. What you do before you go and do something else is you put it out. All right, you put it out. If you're outside, you stamp on it with your foot. If you're inside, you use this ashtray for its intended purpose, not just catching the ashes, but also snuffing out the cigarette. Okay, you crush it into the ashtray, and that puts it out. Like, why would he, like, just start throwing the ball around and say, oh, I might get tired of throwing the ball and I'll go and take a drag off of this cigarette over here? No, that makes no sense. And anybody who's ever smoked a cigarette or been a smoker knows this. All right? Come on now. Or maybe you don't have to be a smoker yourself, but maybe you've been around smokers. They don't do shit like this. And there's an open pack of Marlboro, once again, Reds. at this desk with this beige typewriter and a ream of paper. Hello, skis. I was just talking about how in the nighttime Colorado lounge scene, he's typing and he pulls this paper out and then he tears it up, throws it on the floor when Wendy comes in, and then later magically there's another piece of paper there, or maybe the same one, who knows. But what I don't see in that scene is a box of blank paper. Well, here it is. It's going to disappear later too. This also disappears and reappears. Don't tell me he's just working on one sheet of paper in the nighttime scene. Come on now. But anyway, my speculation about this and the color of this beige typewriter, this is maybe meant to symbolize Stanley's presence. Okay? So we know that Jack Nicholson was, and I think still is, a smoker in real life. There are plenty of pictures of him smoking a cigarette from the 1970s and whenever. But we never see the Jack Torrance character in this movie taking a drag off of a cigarette. We see stuff like this. So, you know who else was a smoker and smoked, I think, precisely this brand? Stanley Kubrick. Okay? He was from that generation when smoking was ubiquitous, and he did it, I think, right up until his last day. And this was his brand, and maybe this is Stanley telling us that, you know, alerting us as to his presence in the movie as a silent and invisible, maybe not character, but just entity, presence, right? So this is maybe Stanley's cigarette and Stanley's open pack of Marlboro Reds. Also, please make note, we're led to believe that the Jack Torrance character is a smoker, even though we never see him smoke, and that his brand is Marlboro Reds. Okay, cool. I'm saying it's Stanley's brand. I'm pretty sure it's Stanley's brand. And we see this brand in Full Metal Jacket again. Rafter Man is carrying one underneath his armpit in the movie. Anyway, never mind. But the Marlboro Reds, these are not 100s. They're just regular. And it's a hard pack. Okay? There's, with cigarettes, when you buy them, there's soft pack and there's hard pack. This is a hard pack. Wendy smokes Virginia Slims. She smokes Virginia Slims Lights, and the Virginia Slim Lights have always had the band of golden colors on one side of the box. And Wendy not only smokes Virginia Slim Lights with the golden bands on one side of the box, she smokes the soft pack. Just, that's a little aside. And again, this has got to be Stanley's typewriter. This has got to be Stanley's typewriter. Or a representation of Stanley's typewriter. Or an indication of Stanley's presence in this movie as its creator. As the one who's brought it to you. So that's just that's my theory. I could be wrong, right? He's the real one. He's the real writer. He's the one bringing you a story, not you know who. Anyway, so we have this here. Yeah, it's couch turned around. I'm still trying to figure out why that is. Here's Jack, acting like a 5-year-old boy, with unsupervised child, just throwing that tennis ball up against the wall and making all that horrible racket. And as Rich-in-law told me, oh, so he's throwing up the ball up against the wall. Where the hallway for room 237 is? Yup. So this is not the wall of room 237. It's the wall of the hotel, of the rooms on the opposite side of the hallway as room 237. So the rooms across the hall from room 237. This is the wall. So those rooms are possibly impossible. And if they are rooms, maybe they're just storage places. I don't know. Maybe that's where they keep all their extra stuff, whatever. But they have no windows. So, something to think about, okay? And here he is, once again. I know it's not easy to see, but there's the vent. Once again, Stanley isn't making this easy for us. You have to, like Stuart Ullman said in the hospital scene, you got to go over this place with a fine-tooth comb. There's probably even more stuff that I'm missing. I just picked up on these vents. Okay? I just picked up on these vents. And It blew my mind when I realized the implications. Okay, so moving on. Okay, this is the Colorado Lounge. And then moving on to the kitchen. Okay, I think I found a vent in the kitchen. Once again, behind Wendy's head. Now, is this an air conditioning vent or a heating vent? I don't know. I already showed you that radiator when they just walk in with Halloran, so I don't know what to think at this point. My mission in this video is to show you every place in the movie that has a vent, every instance, every room, every space that has a vent rather than a radiator. So there's, at least one at this point that we can see in the movie. Again, it happens to conveniently be behind Wendy's head in this shot, just like those ladles were behind her head when she was opening up this big ass can of fruit cocktail. Okay, moving on. So after this, and then they, I think this is the part of the movie where Wendy and Danny go into the maze, and Jack, after this, he goes into the lobby and looks down at the model of the maze and whatever. Okay, then after that, we get Wendy preparing their god-awful fruit cocktail dinner. And then we see Danny making his rounds again, this time in the hallways around 237. So now you know that 237 is upstairs of the Colorado Lounge. Okay, so where should I do this? Okay, so not from this angle. No, that's not how to get to room 237. But from the opposite one, where the hell is it? This is much better. So you would take this elevator upstairs, or these stairs, to get up to the second floor above this ceiling, and then you use that to get to the room 237. Interesting that it's right off of the Colorado Lounge, or at least it seems that way. Where was I? Okay. Oh no. Yeah. Let me get back to the kitchen and then start from the beginning. Okay. So Danny's doing his rounds through the hallways. All right. Rounds through the hallways. All right, Danny. He's moving. There's this elevator, which also doesn't make very much sense. They got a lot of elevators on this floor. There's this elevator, and then there's the elevator in the, what is it, the mezzanine. See this? He's about to turn the corner. And there's, oh, look at that, another vent above this door, which seems to be a door to yet another windowless room. Okay. All right, there seems to be a vent above, like this entry part of the elevator. Okay, we just rolled past an elevator. See this? There's an elevator, and then he turns left, and there goes another elevator with the vents and everything. Jesus, why so many elevators? Okay, then he goes here. He's about to turn right here. And after he turns right again. It ends up in this hallway. Again, these rooms on the right side of the hallway, there's no way they have windows. Moving on, there's another vent above an entryway in this hallway. Again, you can tell by the carpet, these are the hallways around room 237. And they happen to have vents, which is interesting. No radiators, just vents. And now, as you can see, he's on the second floor, right? So he's going back to where he came from when the scene started. He's going back. Oh, hold up. See this here? I know it's faint, and that's on purpose. All of these vents are very faint. Even the ones in the Colorado Lounge are almost undetectable, just because people aren't looking for them. And they're especially not looking for them in this hallway. But they're very faint. They sort of blend in with the paint on the walls, but they are there. As you get closer to them, you see the holes in the grates or grill of the vent. Okay, and then as he's approaching, there's room 237, right? So there's a vent on the wall right next to room 237, and then there's a vent on the other side of room 237 too. Interesting, no? I think so. There's no vents on this side, which is interesting. I don't know. And see, there's another elevator. What the hell? So many freaking elevators. It's crazy. But yeah, so that's I told you, the hallway outside of room 237. And then here we are back at the Colorado Lounge. And this is like that scene that I did the other day in Understanding the Shining Parts 15 and 16. This is an important one. So important that I'm going to take a coffee break and come back because I need to get some coffee so I can have the strength to explain this to you. So just hold on, sit tight, y'all. Oh, by the way, I should have said it already. You all go get some coffee too. Get your coffee, get your cocoa, get your, your tea, soda, cocktails, beer, whatever you're into, and just kick back and enjoy this thing. Because I know I am. So I'll be right back, you guys. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Okay, so this is where it's going to start to get interesting because I don't know if I've fully articulated my theory yet. But in my opinion, in whichever room or space of the hotel that we find air vents rather than radiators, or maybe nothing at all, Stanley is using that as a visual cue, or a potential visual cue to all of us viewers that whatever happens in those spaces is fueled by, once again, this is my opinion, but is fueled by hot air. Okay? So you'll see all the different spaces where I found vents. I've just shown you the Colorado Lounge and the hallways surrounding, with that horrible carpet, the hallway surrounding room 237. Okay? Potentially the kitchen. Where else? Potentially the kitchen. And I'll show you the other spaces too as we go along. Okay, so, and basically the gist is the more forced air heating vents, I think they're forced air heating vents, that you see, the more hot air. And the Colorado Lounge, as I showed you, has a bunch of them. So this room, full of hot air. No radiators, none. Sometimes there's a fire going. There's no radiator. When the vents are there, they're delivering hot air, which means, for old-timey slang, when somebody or something is full of hot air, that means they're full of shit. That means they're lying. They're fabricating something. So we're about to see that. We're about to see that here, okay, in this infamous scene. So here we get closer and closer to this central entrance of the Colorado Lounge. We see Jack typing. This is that lamp I told you about that we never see again after this scene. The couch and the rug and the end tables and the coffee table that were up against this, I guess, Jack's writing desk. And then in the tennis ball scene, they were turned around. Now they're completely not there at all. Everything. The couch, the end tables, the coffee table, the rug underneath it, just gone. With no explanation of any kind whatsoever. Okay, I think the explanation is that we have officially entered the realm of don't take this, or not to don't take whatever you're about to see in this scene with a grain of salt. So this is our first view of this again. This side. There's one on the other side, but we only see this one in this scene. Jack at the typewriter, he's pulled the paper out, whatever. Wendy has walked in and kissed him and whatever, and greeted him. And then this is the first time we see this wall behind him, with the chair and the table. If you look very carefully, you will notice that there don't seem to be any air vents behind the chair or behind the table. Okay, and we cannot see this wall, right next to the exit door. We can't see that behind him, but there should be a vent over here too. But this is why Stanley shot this scene in this way, with Jack's body, at least in this part of the scene, blocking your view of this wall, because there's supposed to be a vent there too, but we can't see it. So if there's no vent here, then there's probably at this point no vent back there. So at this point in the development of this scene, we're still in reality. We're still in reality as, according to the world of the movie. This is reality. And I took another screenshot just to make sure. If you can see the vent, and again, this is why he chose precisely this table. I'm sorry, precisely this table and precisely this chair, because the seat of the chair and the top of the table are exactly the right size for obscuring that air vent. And if they are there behind the table and the chair, you have to look very, very closely to see them. We can't see them here. I can't see them. If you can see them, let me know. And then we cut to Wendy, yeah? And then we cut back to Jack. Uh-oh. I guess she says, about the weather, and the weather report said it's going to snow tonight, and he says, well, what do you want me to do about it? The chair and the table are gone, and, oh, look, air vents. And then we cut back to Wendy, and she's confused as to why he's being so curt with her, but she's not like, he hasn't cussed her out yet, so she's still, I guess, kind of smiling. Then we cut back to him. Oh, shit. Here, the table and chair are back. And again, as far as I can tell, no air vents. Okay. So, again, he's telling her how he's not grouchy. He just wants to finish his work. And she says, I understand. Why not come back later and bring a couple of sandwiches and maybe you'll let me read something? That part. And then we cut back to Jack, and we can't see. We can't see the wall behind him. We can't see the wall with the table and the chair behind him. Stanley is deliberately closing in on Jack's face and, this bust part of his body. So he's playing with us. This is when he starts to get mean. Okay. And this is an abrupt change from this or this. Or this. So this is, maybe he's annoyed, but he's still being polite. Kind of the same thing here, but he does snap at her a little bit, and, he says something sarcastic like, what do you want me to do about the weather? And then we see the vents. Okay. And then we come back. He's saying he just wants to finish his work, and she says, I understand. And then we come back here. No wall. We can't see the wall or this behind him next to the exit door. Nothing. Now Wendy's starting to see that there's a problem. And then we go back to Jack, and this is when he starts explaining to her, like, how dumb she is. Then we cut back to Wendy. Oh, her face is just getting longer and longer. And now this is where this is one of the frames or shots where he's just getting very, very mean. And then we cut back to her. And this is, I think, the point where he tells her to get the fuck out of there. And then, after that, we don't get to see the wall again, at least not right away. And then we cut to her, walking out of there with her tail between her legs. Okay? And then, we can't see the wall. We can't see the part with the table and chair. Look at how masterfully he's positioned the actor, Jack Nicholson, and the chair he's sitting in, precisely to obscure that part of the wall. You can't see a table. You don't know. Based on this, you have no way of knowing whether the table is there, whether the chair is there, whether the air vents are there. However, what he does show you is that there are vents. This is a vent over here, right above the typewriter in this wall. Like I said, there's one here, and on the corresponding one on the far opposite side of this. So, he wants you to know that even this part isn't real. Even when he goes back to typing after she leaves, it's not real because there's vents full of hot air, remember? Okay. So let me show you the different combinations again. This is a little bit confusing, at least to me, and I'm the one trying to figure this out, but I'm trying to make it so that I don't confuse you too with my whatever. So we have like 3 different combinations on this wall behind him. We have table, chair, no vent. Okay. Okay, so table, chair, and no vents. And then after that, we have no table, no chair, but yes, vents. And then table, chair, no vent. Table, chair, okay, table, chair, no vent. And then we have these where we don't get to see that wall. And then finally, after the whole thing is over, we see him again. We don't see the table or the chair, but we do see a vent. So I don't know what to think of that. So I think there's three combinations based on everything that I've seen in the movie going over this room with a fine-tooth comb. So we have table, chair, no vent. We have no table, no chair, and vent. And then last but not least, we have... Wait, what did I say? See, I'm getting confused already. Okay, so we have table, chair, no vent. We have no table, no chair, but yes, vents. And then the third combination is table, chair, and yes, vents. Why? That's my only question. So like I said, whenever you see vents in this room, and you're going to see them in just about every scene, except for this one little part at the beginning of this scene, where they're not there. And everything after is some version of table, chair, vent, or vent, no table, no chair, whatever. The presence of the vents is telling you that whatever's happening is bullshit, that it's maybe not really happening. Maybe it's a hallucination. Maybe it's somebody just making shit up. I don't know. But the table and chair combos, there's three of them, like I said. Table, chair, vent. No table, no chair, but yes, vent. And then table, chair, and vent. Those are maybe three different versions of reality. Or not reality, sorry. Those three combos are three different three different possibly perspectives in this movie. Whatever you're seeing is being seen or conceived or imagined or hallucinated by a different character. And since there's about three of them living in the hotel now that it's closed, I don't know which one corresponds to which. We just saw like Danny riding through, and Danny, riding through the Colorado Lounge, there are vents. Unfortunately, we can't see this wall in that thing, but we can see all the other walls. And yes, there's vents everywhere. So maybe that's, I don't know, that's Danny's perspective. Maybe Wendy's perspective is, where the hell is it? Wendy's perspective, we actually can't see. When he starts to get really mean, we don't get to see that wall behind him. So this is Wendy's perspective when he's being awful. So for some reason, Stanley wants to keep that a mystery from us. Like, is this really happening? Is he really talking to her like this? Or is it just her imagining it or exaggerating or whatever? But when the whole thing is all over, we still don't get to see the wall behind him where the chair and table are. But we do get like a little nod from him saying, yeah, the vents are here. Even this is hot air. So everything you just saw, except for the very beginning, is hot air, is a lie, or a hallucination, or a delusion, or whatever. After this part, where he's like leaning back and he, this is still like the reality of the world of the movie. And after this, no. Look at this. This is when shit starts to go south. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But I think this is maybe where he's delineating the rules of the game, or the rules of perception. Like, maybe it's not reality, or how this hotel is being processed by the people who are living there, Jack, Wendy, Danny. Maybe it's like 3 different narratives. Whoever they come from, whoever the unreliable narrator is there 3 of them? Or 3 versions of unreliable narration, never mind who they're coming from? I don't know. But I think that's what Stanley is establishing. Or, he's setting up the rules. Remember, we're playing a game in this hotel. Like, those 2 creepy little girls, they tell Danny to come play with them. And the first time he encounters them after entering the hotel is in the games room. So, there's a game being played. There's a game being played. And by the way, I'm working on another video about that, games, one specific one. And, stay tuned for that in the future. I'll come up with that video later. But today I'm just going to try and get through this. But there's a game being played. And I think Stanley, at this point in the game, or rather no, at this point in the movie, he's kind of letting you know the rules of the game. Right? And how to, and once you learn the rules, the regulations, the law, I guess, I don't know how else to say it, then you'll understand what happens after a certain point in the movie. Okay, so with the playing field, or the court, or whatever, or the chessboard. I know Stanley Kubrick was very famous for being very good at chess, but like the playing field is being set up during this part of the movie. After a certain point in the movie, it'll be past the time to set up the court or the field. No, they're going to be playing the game. All right, there's a game. The game is afoot. The game is afoot. Not yet, not at this point in the movie, but it will be. Stanley is establishing the rules of the game and the parameters and that kind of thing. That's what I believe. After this scene, the nighttime scene in the Colorado Lounge, and I'm going to have to do a separate video about the Colorado Lounge. I thought that my forced air heating vent theory would be, when I was doing this, at one point I thought it would be, I would be concentrating solely on the Colorado Lounge, and then I started seeing vents in other places where they kind of shouldn't be. And that kind of just confirmed my theory for me, but also it made me realize, no, I can't just concentrate on the Colorado Lounge. So it's not just about the Colorado Lounge in this video, it's about those damn vents. And I call them forced air vents because they're usually in places where there's no radiator. When they're in a place where there is a radiator, it's a signal of some kind from Stanley. Anyway, so where was I going with this and why? Okay, so after this scene, yeah. The next time we see the Colorado Lounge is this. All right? And this is the only angle that we see the Colorado Lounge from in this scene, where Danny and Wendy are outside playing in the snow like a couple of idiots in a blizzard. Who plays in a blizzard? Seriously, I think one of my commenters said, yeah, that's just stupid for them to do. To go out and just, play and have fun in that kind of weather? Oh, good heavens, no. But while they're doing that, this scene gives us the impression that Jack is staring at them through the window in a stupor. Like I said, how do we know where the maze is located relative to the Colorado Lounge? And even if, not the maze, but where they're playing outside, and that's where the maze is too. Like, even if he is looking out the window, how's he going to see anything if there's like a huge pile of snow up against the building? And that would be up against the windows too, so he wouldn't be able to see through them. So what is he staring at in this scene? But notice that you can't see any vents. You can see the table. You can see a fire going on. Oh, maybe this is the... Oh, Lord. Maybe the fire is another clue. Maybe it's not just about like the difference between radiators and forced air heating. Maybe it's just any heat source whatsoever, anything that changes the temperature in a room, whether it's a radiator, forced air heating vent, or natural heat, fire. I don't know. I don't know. Something about fire, something about heat. And it doesn't really matter what form it comes in, whether it's radiator, forced air, or fire. The presence of heat and the type of heat, or the source of heat, or the kind of heat it is, tells us something about whatever we're seeing going on in that particular scene. Oh, this is getting confusing, isn't it? I apologize for that. But anyway, and, it's daytime. He's got a fire going. Sconce is lit, though. Again, this typewriter, and in this scene too, black or, charcoal gray. Like I said, after that scene where he's in the Colorado Lounge playing with the tennis ball, that's the last time we see it beige. That's the only time we see the typewriter as a beige color. Interesting. In my opinion, again, I think the beige typewriter is Stanley's typewriter. That's what I believe at this point. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear it, or read it, rather. Next time we see the Colorado Lounge, or any space with a vent in it, is this. And this is the part where, in my last video, part 16, where I say, I don't know what's going on with this. Why is he showing this to us? Because, like, this it lasts a couple of seconds in the movie, and he's just sitting here, typing, allegedly. I still don't see no box of paper, It don't make no sense. We see a fire going. No, in the couch and end table and coffee table and rug combo that are supposed to be in front of the table, gone. Just freaking gone. Okay, and I said I believe that this scene that we're looking at, that Stanley is showing us, either it isn't taking place or it's only taking place inside of somebody's mind. There's the vent. Again, these vents are not always there. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not there. On the closing day of the hotel, not there. No vents of any kind in this room whatsoever on closing day. How do they heat this room? And don't tell me the fireplace, because with a room this size, this fireplace is just going to heat like this area right in front of it. What about the rest? Didn't they teach us that in high school? That's like, the reason why stoves were invented, because fireplaces are pretty much inefficient unless you're sitting right next to the fire. I mean, I'm just saying. So I think he's, here typing, writing. Maybe that's not really happening. Maybe this is another swipe, in my opinion, my theory. Maybe this is another swipe at Stephen King that he totally deserves from Stanley Kubrick. He's writing in here. If this is supposed to be like Stephen King, or representation of Stephen King in the Jack Torrance character, oh, he's writing? Oh, really? I think not. The vent is there. That means that whatever is happening in this room, hot air. Doesn't matter whether it's switched on or not. We have no way of knowing whether the forced air heating is switched on or not. When you see a vent, just go ahead and equate that with hot air, and also known as bullshit. Okay? That's my theory at this point. Moving on. The next time we see a vent, not here, but this is a precursor to the time we see. So she's trying to get somebody on the phone. Okay. And then she walks out, and she walks through here, and she comes here. Well, wouldn't you know it? This is in part 16 what I pointed out to Tankard. Yeah, now I'm pointing it out to all of you. Look, that's a vent. It's not white. It's painted so that it kind of blends in with this dark wood color around it, or it doesn't stick out too much, or it matches the flooring, or whatever. But that's a vent. Again, this room, there's plenty of radiators in the lobby. There's plenty of radiators in the hotel, in the hallway adjacent to the lobby. So, like, what the hell is this vent for? Is it air conditioning? Okay, if it's air conditioning, this one little thing over here is not enough. If it happens to be that hot, it's not enough to cool down this entire space. It's just not. Those people sitting over by the stairs, or closer to Allman's office, or the elevator, or whatever, this little vent, if it's got cold air coming through it, air conditioning, this isn't going to help them at all. Not even a little bit. So what the hell is this thing doing here? It's a vent. It's a vent. It's a vent. It's a vent. All right. And then, just to what? Oh, Lord. Yeah, my screenshots are a little off. But, oh, that's why I did this. Okay, you just saw the vent. See? I wanted to show you the radiator, too. So there's a radiator here. There's another radiator here. There's more radiators on the side of the room where the cordless TV is. Jesus H. Christ, as Sergeant Hartman would say. Okay, so here comes Wendy, and she enters Ullman's office. The reason why I show you Ullman's office in this presentation is not because there's a vent in here, not because there's a radiator in here, but because there isn't. Okay? So once again, if during open season, if Ullman's in here and working and it happens to be cold, he's just fresh out of luck. There's no heating, and maybe he brings a space heater in here. I don't know. But there's no radiator and there's no forced air heating vent. Or air conditioning vent for that matter. Nothing. So this is, I'm using this to sort of provide a contrast to what I'm trying to show you. Also, this hallway and this area of the hotel, like the staff wing where he sees these two creepy little girls, and the hallways like where Wendy's wheeling the breakfast jack and what. No heaters, no radiators, no forced air vents, nothing. Nothing. Okay, just again, here, again, I'm showing this to you as another example. We have a radiator right here. Right here. And I think there's one in the bathroom too. No forced air vents though, or any kind of vents. Okay, so let's get back to an area where there are vents. This, see? This. So this is the vent. I think there's one on this side and one on the other side. And I think this is room 237 right here, right behind this ashtray. So this is where we find vents, a.k.a. more bullshit. Okay, so where have we found bullshit so far? I'm just going to use that word just to make things simpler for you. It's, bullshit, hot air. You get the idea. So where do we find bullshit in this movie, according to my theory, as it stands right now? Colorado Lounge, for sure. Colorado Lounge. These hallways around room 237. And what did I say? That one little ridiculous little vent in the lobby that isn't going to help nobody. And it's not for heat because they already got radiators, and it's not for air conditioning because one is not enough for that purpose. So, there's some bullshit going to happen in the lobby, too. And when I say bullshit, I mean stuff that either just doesn't happen in the real world of this movie, or it only happens inside of somebody's head, like Wendy's head or Jack's head, maybe Danny's head, too. I don't know. Okay, so where was I? Oh, yes. The hallways around room 237. Again, these vents are so blurry. He made them that way deliberately so they're hard to spot. You got to work for this. You got to work hard to see this. So there's one here, and like I said, I think another one on the other side of room 237 on this wall. And this, again, like I said, this side of the hallway, these are all rooms across from room 237. There's no conceivable way that any of these rooms could have windows. Period. Because the inner wall of these rooms is the fireplace and Native American painting wall in the Colorado Lounge. Yep. And which also calls into question this elevator. Where does this go? It doesn't go downstairs because there's no elevator on this wall. From what I've been able to figure out, there's no elevator on this wall in the Colorado Lounge. There's no elevator. So this elevator doesn't go downstairs. Maybe it goes upstairs. I don't know. I really don't know. But this is confusing as hell. Okay, there's another elevator around the corner over here here, and I think there's an elevator over here. What's up with all these damn elevators? Okay, let me gather myself. Okay, so he gets up, and you can see the vent clearer here. That's why I did this screenshot. On the opposite side, well, there goes another vent. So look, this vent here above this print on the wall. And again with the plaid chairs, I got to research plaid. Um, I did, but I guess not thoroughly enough. There they go. Vents. Why are they there? Again, I think that what we're about to see is full of hot air. Like, there's the vent on the other side of the double doors of room 237. So one over here and one over here. Okay. And then you just saw the vent above Danny's head in this adjacent hallway. Stanley is not making this easy for us. And I guess that's the point, right? And then there's this one point perspective that everybody talks about. All of the lines, let's see, they converge on this door. I just wonder. Anyway, so he gets closer to the doors of room 237. There's the vent, and, this is mysterious. And it's at this point in the movie, and you can see the vent here too. Faint, blurry, but there. And then, after this scene, well, we see Wendy in the boiler room. And again, I'm not an HVAC technician. I'm not a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning expert by any stretch of the imagination. But I know, because I read about it, that radiators are powered by hot water. Hot water requires a boiler. So this is where they're located. This is where the hot water comes from to circulate through the pipes of that radiator. So that's how radiators work. Forced air works differently. I think forced air usually works with gas, but I think it also works with electricity. And forced air, like I said, it's not pipes. For radiators, the hot water travels through pipes. But for forced air, the hot air travels through ducts, not pipes. Where are those ducts? We haven't seen any of them, really. Okay? Each and every one of those vents in all of the places that I've shown you so far, each and every one of those vents, and there seem to be like quite a lot of them, like a little too many. I don't know. Especially in the Colorado Lounge, there's like a bunch of them. That room, if they turn all that on, if all that is going all at the same time, that's going to be one toasty room. But like all of those vents would require a duct. Each vent requires its own duct. Okay. Like, where's all that ductwork? Concealed behind the walls. I don't know. I just don't know. It doesn't seem logical to me. But the radiators are fueled, and the heat from the radiators comes from the water, I guess, boiled in these machines that look like they have faces. I don't know. Y'all tell me. And there she is, whatever, checking on her clipboard. And then she hears Jack yelling upstairs in his sleep. And then she runs through, and we see all these wash machines. We'll get to that when we get to that. There's a possible vent over here, but it's so dark that it's hard to see. He makes these things deliberately hard to see. But there's like a black square up here. It might be a vent of some kind. I'm not sure. Y'all make of that what you will. That's why I included this photo. Then we have Jack up here. Okay. Again, there's the Marlboros. Do those belong to Jack, or do they belong to Stanley? I'm really starting to wonder. And then here she is running through this area. Okay, I don't know where she came from, but she's running through this service hallway that Danny rolls through on his tricycle. But Danny is coming from the opposite end. So Danny comes from over here. Danny hangs a left, comes in through this hallway, and then he hangs another left and goes that way back into the Colorado Lounge. So if she wants to get to Jack as quickly as possible, why is she doing this roundabout run through this service hallway? She shouldn't run all the way down this hallway. No, she should just go right in through over here to the right of this, whatever this is, coffee machine, ice machine, I have no idea. But she's running, this is ridiculous. She should just come in through here. But I just noticed that, wanted to mention it to you. And again, with these pipes and whatever on the ceiling that, again, probably carry the hot water to the radiators, at least partially. Okay, let's keep it moving. And then she turns right, and then she enters the Colorado Lounge. Okay, and she's running, and the camera is like following her as she's running, and that creates two different things. It's hard to pay attention to the walls while she's running because she's running and the camera is following her so fast. Again, another exit. It's Stanley and his exit signs. Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're red. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, she comes in here. Again, she could have come in over here, just like Danny did with his tricycle. That would have been much closer. You see? She knows he's going to be sitting at his typewriter. Most probably. I mean, this is weird. Anyway, she comes in and she runs towards Jack. Yeah, vent. There it is. See that? So if there's a vent here, then there's also a vent here. Whether or not you can see it because the table and chair combo is immaterial. But you can kind of see it. So I think that's the vent. Yeah, if there's a vent here, then automatically that means that there are vents in these two columns. Okay? So she gets closer to Jack. Yeah. And when she gets this close, you can see like the frame of the vent peeking out on the left side of this chair. Okay. As she gets to, see, it's even easier to see now. You can see these vents here too on this other column. Yeah, there they are. And he's like having his nightmare. Okay. Oh, there's finally a box of blank paper. Okay. But no paper in the typewriter. So, okay, I'm not going to do that now. We're going to analyze this in depth when we get to this part of the movie with my understanding the Shining series. But here we are, right? And she tries to allegedly help him, and he falls out of the chair, and he's on the floor, and there he is, yeah, horrified or whatever. He just woke up. He's maybe in between a waking and a dream state in this. If this is in fact happening, by the way, remember, hot air, bullshit, lies. There's a vent behind him, okay, on this wall, like I said. And there's still a vent. Okay, she's helping him up. And he's looking around like he's crazy. Okay, still vent, 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 vent. And then back here, look at what Stanley did. Jesus Christ, Stanley, why you gotta make everything so hard? Okay, you can see the tiniest little peeking out of the frame of the vent, like right underneath, her armpit area. Okay, Wendy's armpit area. Okay, all right. And I took another screenshot. See, you can see this tiny little corner. That's the vent. All right, and then we see him again, still vent. Hard to see. Stanley probably told him like exactly where to put his hand on the floor. Oh my God, when he shot this. Right, there it is. But you could barely see it, but if you're looking, you know what to look for. There we are again. Same thing, this tiny little corner of the vent underneath her armpit. Okay. Now she's helping him up off the floor. And it's not just, wait a minute. Yeah, it's not just, hold on, wait a minute. Ooh, okay, so it's not just a vent. It's a vent and table and chair. So that's the combo in this one. I'm going to have to work this out. I'm not done. I'm not done with this video. I will have accomplished something, but not that much. So she's helping him up into his throne or whatever, right? Here comes Danny, and you can't see whether or not from this distance. Oh, look at what he did. Look at what Stanley did. As Danny is entering this room from this end, I don't know where he came from, but there he is. He's coming in. And like at this distance, especially my copy of the movie, it's not the best quality. You cannot tell whether or not there's vents behind this table and chair over here. You just can't. It's too far away. This is a little bit closer, but notice You still can't really tell if there's vents here, and the vent on this wall back here is obscured by the couch and the railing of this staircase. Stanley. And the vents on like this inside wall that we know are there because Danny rolled past them in his tricycle, we can't see them. So we have no way of knowing whether or not, at this point in this scene, whether or not this is real. Whether or not Danny walking in here is real, whether his injuries are real. Nothing. Nothing. Because we cannot see from this angle and from this distance whether or not there's vents. He again, the seat of the chair and the top of the table are at just the right height, both of them, to obscure the vent just enough so that you can't tell whether or not it's there from a certain distance. Stanley. Why you do that, Stanley? Why you make this difficult for me? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, I think I see a vent over here. Yup. Oh, that means that we're looking at hot air. In my opinion, this is where I'm where I'm at right now, hot air. So then if there's a vent here, that means there's a vent here too. They're never one without the other, okay? It's not like, oh, he puts vents here but not here. No, no, no. If there's vents everywhere. All right, and the stairs, the ones that behind the piano, they're there too. If there's vents here, that means there's vents here. That means there's vents at the base of these stairs behind the piano, the whole thing. Okay. Oh, yeah, there's a vent. Okay, okay, okay. So, yeah, we're looking at hot air. Whatever's going on with Danny, hot air. Okay. Oh, and look at what he did. He's gonna make you work for this. Okay, so I found a vent here, but as Wendy gets closer and then she kneels down, look at her head covers this column, and Danny's head covers, and her arm and his hand and whatever covers this column plus this wall over here where I just showed you there's a vent. What are the odds of him telling them to stand or kneel or whatever precisely here, precisely in this position, so that they will obscure all the places on this side of the wall where there's vents? Jesus Christ. Okay. Look, oh, and somebody remarked, like, the way he's looking at her in this scene, like she's gaslighting him again. Very possible. And again, there's the vent back here. Barely visible, but yes, it is there. And there it is again. So that means it's here too. You can maybe even see it if you really try, but I can't. Right? Oh, Lord. Oh, this is what I wanted to point out. We will discuss this further. When Danny comes in, like there's a couch, and there's this rug in front of this couch, right? Look at this. Look at. And then, she sees Danny. There's still the rug. There's still the rug. There's still the rug. And then when the angle changes, rug disappears. And somebody, I don't know who it was, but pointed out that there's lamps that are in these by the windows. They disappear too. So no rug, no lamps. And again, look at what he did. We can't see the vents behind the piano. Or this wall over here behind her. She's positioned just exactly in front of where the vent would be on this wall, per Danny's tricycle journey through this part of the hotel. Okay. And here comes Jack. Remember, just a second ago, there were chair, table, vent. You could barely see the vent, but it's there. Okay. And now, here's Jack's head. He's confused. No table, no chair, but yes, vents. What version of reality are we looking at? That's why I said maybe it's from the perspective of, Jack, Wendy, and then Danny. I don't know. But, here we are again. He switches back to her. No rug. No lamps. What the hell? And then here she is getting up. We still can't see this wall or the wall behind the piano. He's not letting us see whether or not there's a vent. Damn it, Stanley. Why you gotta make this so hard? But the lamps are back, so that might be some kind of indication of something. Then we go back to Jack. Still no chair and table, but yes, vents. Now she runs off with Danny. We still can't see the wall here where we saw for sure that there was a vent when Danny rode past it. Let me show you again. This is slide 135, so I remember where to come back to. Here we go. Yeah, remember this? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh yeah, no, it's there. It's just barely visible. So, see this? I know it doesn't look like it, but that is the tiniest little visible portion of the vent on this wall. Okay, so what did I say? 135? Oh God. Yeah. Okay, here we are. Yeah, we can't see it, and we can't see this, and we can't see this wall over here. The vent is behind this little sofa back here. Yeah, no. And then here goes Jack. Again, no chair, no table, but yes, vents. Interesting. Now, this might surprise you. Another place where there's vents? Gold room. No radiators. None. But we have, from what I've been able to find, in this scene, I think, you all help me. If you have a better copy of the movie, let me know. But I think I see a vent here at the base of this wall, over here on the left. So that's one more vent. So in my opinion, yes, there are vents in the gold room too. No radiators, no fireplace, that's for sure. But yes, a vent. I think maybe one more vent too. I'll show it to you in a little bit. And then after this scene with his initial talk with Lloyd, then we, Wendy runs in and says, "Oh, there's a crazy woman." And then he goes and he looks. We know what happens in that scene. Here's the vents. On the other side of the, again, there's one over on this wall, and then one over here, okay? And then we go back to the gold room. And I know it's hard to see, but Stanley probably made it that way for a reason. There's a vent under this, like, fern in this pot, right here, okay, in between the bar and the door for going into the gentleman's room in the gold room. So we have a vent. I think it's one here and then one in here. Again, this might seem like a completely crazy exercise on my part, but I believe that the appearing and disappearing vents in the Colorado Lounge, and the chair and the table in front of them, but the wall behind Jack's desk, or the two ones behind Jack's desk, that is indicative of something. And that told me everywhere we see vents in this movie, no matter how hard they are to find, no matter how hard they are to spot, to identify, that means something is going on. Whatever you're seeing in that room, at least after closing day, might not be actual reality. It's probably somebody's hallucination. Okay? That's how I feel right now. I'm showing you also the gentleman's room. No heater, no vent. These that you see on the ceiling, those are not. I don't think those are heaters. I think those are like for sucking up the foul air in the bathroom. So there's that. Y'all let me know what you think. They're technically vents, but they're not forced air heater vents or air conditioning vents. I think they're for, again, this room has no windows, so and it's a bathroom, it's a toilet room. So you got to do something about that foul air. And there it is, right? So that's all I'm going to say about that. Also, go back to the lobby, just to remind you of this vent in the lobby, the only one I could find. All right, and then we go back to the Colorado Lounge, and this is the scene that we see of Jack allegedly typing away, and this is when Halloran is en route to Colorado from Miami. All right, so here he is, and the reason I show you this is because it's the Colorado Lounge, and I've showed you the vents in there, but in this scene, and he seems to be wearing either I'm leaning towards he's wearing the sweater. Wait, this is slide 145. So I think in this scene he's wearing that sweater that I was like, is it black or is it green? Okay, he's wearing it here. And I think on a better copy of the movie, it's more of a dark green rather than a black. But this is the sweater he wears here, where he's looking crazy. And then, I think he might be wearing that sweater as well in this part, this nonsensical scene. There's a vent, but I think he's also wearing that sweater in this scene where he's typing. And I also think he's wearing that sweater in this scene where he seems to be typing in the Colorado Lounge as Halloran is on the way to get to Colorado to allegedly save the family. So those three are connected somehow. Again, I just showed you that one shot where I believe he's wearing the same sweater, but from the opposite angle, and I showed you where I found the vent. So make of that what you will. This is Halloran at the airport. Again, there's vents in the ceiling and in this room in the airport where he's making this phone call. There's a vent, and then there's also the air sucker. Y'all let me know what you think. I put it there because technically it is a vent. This ceiling seems to have vents in it. Let me know what you think. Here we are, the final showdown in the Colorado Lounge with Jack and Wendy. Okay, so she's entering. This is after she tells Jack that there's a crazy woman. He goes to investigate. He doesn't find anything. He goes and tells her he hasn't found anything. And she says, oh, no, they've got to get out of there and take the snow, get Danny to a doctor or whatever. And he, loses his shit and yells at her. Then goes back to the Gold Room party. And then after that, she comes down here with a baseball bat, the Louisville Slugger, looking for Jack. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that there are vents. Hard to see, and that's the point. But Stanley makes them very hard to see. But I think that they are present behind this table and chair combo on both sides as she's entering this room. Why does he make it so hard to see them? Yeah, there they are. You can see the frames. The frames stick out from the wall a little bit, so you can barely see a hint of them, but you just enough to know that they're there. Yeah. Okay, so there's some more bullshit about to happen in this room. Again, fakery, lies, hot air. Hot air. So she's looking, and again, I didn't show the shots of her, being horrified at all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. This is, of course, Jack's silhouette on the right side of the screen. I cannot see, I think. Oh, no. It seems like you could see the vent behind, the leg of this piano. Okay. Oh, Lord. Nothing that we see. Oh, and there's the vents. Look at this one over here and this one over here. So we're about to see some hallucinations. Okay. Oh, there he is. And this is arguably his most terrifying, Jack Nicholson at his most terrifying. He just did everything he could. I think he put his all into this scene. Those eyes, that facial expression, the tone of his voice is creepy as hell. Okay, and then the back and forth between them in this scene is what I kind of want. And as you can see, there's the vent, is what I want to sort of take a minute and just appreciate here, right? So here he is. Yeah. Vent, and there she is, being horrified. She doesn't know what to think. She's holding the bat. And there he is again, vent, and his head is framed by these curtains behind him. Okay, now you can see the vents a little better here. And then there she is again, and there he is again. Again, you can see the vent over here, and again, a little better over here. Then back to her. Back to him, vent. Him again. Now again, you can see these vents, but not the one behind his shoulder. Okay, then back to her, Then back to him. You can still barely see them, but yes, they're there. The vents behind him. And then her again. You can't see any vents yet. There he is again. Again, you can barely see the vents, but they are there. And then her again. Then him again. Again, you can still see the vents. Her again. Him again. Now he's getting farther and farther from the vents, and they're getting blurry, so it's harder and harder to tell after this point, which, again, is probably deliberate on Stanley's part, but you can see them behind her at the base of these stairs on the wall behind the piano. There we go again. I think you can possibly make out the vents, but I'm not going to say anything for sure. You can definitely make them out here. Okay. And we're getting farther and farther away from the writing table and closer to the stairs. You can still see the vent. Again, can't see any vents here, but you can see one here. Nothing here. Again with the vents here. Okay. As you can see, we're getting closer and closer to her backwards ascent up those stairs. Now she's looking around. He's yelling at her. You can't see the vents on this side of the room. It's very blurry. No. There she is climbing the stairs backwards. Oh, you can see the vent here. Okay? I told you I went over this with a fine-tooth comb. So, yeah, she gets up here. She starts swinging the bat. He gets annoyed at her swinging the bat. Okay, and I think I could make out a vent. At least on this side. Okay, that's why he has to put 3 on this wall, on both of these columns, and on this wall too. Just depending on what angle you're looking at it from, so you can see whether or not they're there. This is when she, brains him with the bat. It's so blurry, it's hard to tell at this point, but now he's falling backwards. He lands here, and that's that. As you can see, this took me a while to do. Oh, wait a minute. You let me know. I think I see a vent here, which means there's also vents here, here, and here. And I've told you already what I think it means. Oh, this is, it took a lot for me to do this. And then she drags into the kitchen. Again, there's this vent again that was behind her head when she was making the dinner. Those there it is. There's the box of Frosted Flakes. And just for comparison, this is the wall outside of the dry goods room. There's a radiator. Okay? And in the foreground, there's a couple of pressure cookers. Isn't that interesting? Okay. And then here she is. I'm trying to see whether... Oh, yeah, there's a vent in this red hallway. It's right here. Okay? It's right here. No radiators in this hallway, just this vent. Again, which all of them require a duct. And then back to this elevator. And I'm asking the question again. This dark part on the floor on either side. Are those vents? Or are they tile work? I'm not sure. I can't make it out. And then last but not least. Oh, I don't know what to think of this myself. But I think I found one more vent. Here. It might not be. It might just be molding above the door. Another exit sign. This time it's been obscured by these palm fronds. We need to figure out this picture. I think this might be a vent. I think it might. Yes, I do believe that maybe not forced air heating, but I think at 1921, I think air conditioning had been invented, but I'm not sure whether or not this thing above this door next to the exit sign is a vent or just, again, a decorative element. I can't wait to hear what you all have to say in the comments. That's what really interests me. But I did a little bit of a close-up, and this is like the last point in the picture where you can see this. Is it a vent, or is it, again, just a decorative element? But it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know. If it is a vent, then you know what I think. If it's a vent, then this picture is bullshit. But also the exit sign. Again, if you haven't noticed the exit signs, I just don't know what to say. He's really deeply fond of them. And this one, it's obscured. Why is he doing that? I don't know. But I know it's deliberate. And I know there's a reason behind it. So, you all. Ugh. Oof, I've been talking for just about 2 hours at this point. And, of course, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about any of the things that I've mentioned to you. You know, let me know what you think. Let me know whether or not I'm off my rocker. But I believe, I'll reiterate what it is that I believe. I believe that these events are integral to solving this movie. I've showed you all the places where I found them. Definitely a lot of them in the Colorado Lounge. A couple of them in the hallways surrounding room 237. One in the lobby and two in the gold room. Everywhere else, I see no signs of them. Everywhere else is like either nothing or radiators. I think that they're in the presence of a forced air heating vent is Stanley telling us that whatever we're looking at in that room or that space is hot air, also known as bullshit. Somebody's hallucinations, a fig Newton of somebody's imagination. And that's where I'm gonna hold to that opinion until I see any evidence that convinces me of the contrary. Whew. And that's about it. That's about it. I think I've done everything that I could do. Again, I'm turning it over to you. I've put forward what I think, what I believe, what I've observed, and what I think my observations mean, or what the things that I've observed, what I believe they indicate or signify. Help. Let me know in the comments what you think. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but probably one of these stills from this scene in the Colorado Lounge. This first argument they have here is probably what I'm going to use. I don't know. I don't know which picture I should use. Good Lord. I'll find something. I don't know what it is, but I'll find something. The Colorado Lounge is important. I just showed you how many scenes we have in this movie, in this space. That means it's important. So, basically, I guess that's it. I'm still looking for my thumbnail. Like I said, Colorado Lounge, we start out with no vents in this room. None that we can see on the camera walk, the tour of the hotel on closing day whatsoever. And you see, nothing behind that piano. Absolutely nothing. So again, I don't know what which one of these to use for my thumbnail. I have no idea. Again, look. Ooh. So many scenes happen in this room. Is Stanley trying to tell us something? And like I said, also this video wasn't about this, but I believe the off-white typewriter, quote unquote, belongs to Stanley, as do these cigarettes. Let me know what you think about that too. So, you guys, I think I've done everything I could in this video, and I've showed you everything I thought was worth showing you. You know, oh, this is probably going to be my thumbnail. I can't wait for the comments. thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you watch this whole thing all the way to the end, that means you're a wonderful person. So I won't bother you anymore. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, can't wait to hear what you have to say. I know I'm going to get people who don't agree with me, and that is fine. I expect that and I welcome that. But I'm going to be back with more videos about some more stuff. Specifically the Colorado Lounge, specifically the number 42, and like I said, games. Games, games, games. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. I will be back with that and more. So you guys, thank you for watching. And until next time, until I find yet another reason to talk at you, I'll go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So, bye-bye, everybody.